in being an industrial electrician, particularly when I was a maintenance electrician, meaning that you would go out and fix things that broke down, you'd go out and when you're talking with the job setter or the operator of the machine, you're sort of asking the types of questions that a reporter would ask. What happened? When happened? When did it happen? Why do you think it happened? What is it supposed to do? Those kinds of things. But instead of fixing the machine or fixing the problem, as a journalist, you go back and write about it and let someone else fix it.
City. You describe Buick City as a place where the American dream was crumbling and rusting away, a city so far removed from its glorious and arrogant past when it made America go places. Could you tell us how you arrived on this setting, which is not Detroit nor Flint, nor any city that actually exists?
Growing up here and sort of observing and understanding the city's history, particularly as you came out of the Second World War and this amazing prosperity that resulted from our victory in the Second World War. Places like Flint, Detroit, other places being because of this arsenal of democracy, and so that created this huge amount of wealth for ordinary working class people. But then as the 20th century wound down, significant changes were taking place. It really affected the psyche of, I think, the larger public in communities like the community that exists in Motown Man.
Your book is very specifically set in an unseasonably cold week in November in 1991. Why was it important for you to take the story to take place in that era, in that time?
It felt to me that it was kind of story that needed to be told sort of quickly. Ian McEwan is one of my favorite authors. And one of his books that I really enjoyed was Saturday, a story that literally takes place in one day, but it's a 250-page book. So there's a lot of backstory that helps to sort of drive the narrative. And so that was sort of the same kind of thinking there, in that I was really trying to, there was these little interactions, these little occurrences that occur, I think, in daily life that, while on the surface, they may seem minor, if not trivial, but can have such huge implications, or there is so much that can go into, this moment.
And it raises the question of, can there be such a thing as a colorblind society? There's been a resurgence of interest in that topic in 2020. Have you seen any evidence that readers are engaging with this book a little differently than they might have a year or two ago?
Even though, the story is set in the early 90s, 1991 to be exact, I do think that there are some themes that are very much contemporary, some of which you touched on. Diversity training, which is part of this, the important part of the story. Well, that's certainly being talked about now. Of course, it's called bias training today. Things like, there have been episodes of prominent people who've been caught in blackface. There's an episode, there's a scene in the story that deals with a kind of a blackface example. So to a certain extent, while I didn't write this book yesterday or last year, I'm pleased or intrigued to a certain extent how certain themes are still resonant today.
I think that it's going to lead to some great conversations. It's the kind of book that really is a perfect book to read at this point in history. So I hope that lots of book clubs take it up and that people really find an interest in it.